I thought I would read to you from the opening chapter of Witchlight. I'll start a couple of paragraphs in, but it'll give you a flavour for the book. 20 seconds after the cat vacated its spot in the darkest and most secluded part of the field, a blob of pale turquoise light appeared a metre or so above the grass, expanded in volume and brightness, and then disappeared with a barely audible poof, leaving in its place a short, dapper man in well-washed blue jeans and an extremely bright and ever so twinkly turquoise shirt. He patted himself down, smoothed his already immaculate auburn hair, and walked across the closely cropped combination of grass, thistles and nettles towards the back of the houses overlooking the field. His intended destination was the somewhat rampant-looking garden at the back of number 66 Basingfield Lane, in which Holly Jeps, the owner, was currently attempting to tame some long untended grass. Holly remained unaware of her impending visitor until he leaned over the back fence, coughed politely, and in distinctly over-emphatic tone said, "Hi, Holly! Good to meet you! How's it going?" Holly looked up with a start, a look of puzzlement on her face and a handful of grass cuttings in her left hand. Hello? Can I help you?" "Oh, no, it's me who's come to help you, girlie." And with that, he jumped over the fence, or, to be precise, he levitated over it. But Holly, being a pragmatic, level-headed woman, saw it as a jump. To be honest, as a woman 2 years or so off the milestone of 40, she was rather more surprised at being called girly than by the pseudo-leap. Though, as she was also fairly short and was used to being patted on the head, both metaphorically and literally, by people of more extended height, her initial reaction was actually an internal, heightist, patronising git. She revised this slightly as she realised he was little taller than she was, and then further revised it when it occurred to her that both her garden and her personal space were being invaded by an unknown and unduly familiar man. She reached for the lawn rake, just in case. "No need for that, girlie," said the small, twinkly man. "I really am here to help you. I'm your fairy godfather." The silence that followed this announcement was dense enough to cut with a lawnmower. More explanation was clearly needed. Although, to be precise and leaving out the issue of sexual preference, I'm actually a witch rather than a fairy. Holly briefly debated whether to hit him with the lawn rake before legging it to the kitchen door, or just run as fast as she could for the door prior to locking it firmly behind her. The man seemed to sense her thought process and eyeballed her pointedly before clapping his hands and releasing a sizable charm of goldfinches from between them. Holly remained rooted to the spot. He clapped his hands again, and Holly found herself sitting at her kitchen table with a mug of hot coffee in her hands. Opposite her, the man was juggling yellow-coloured gemstones, which turned into canaries, flew upwards, and disappeared. "I think, young Holly, that we need to talk." So I'm going to pause my reading there and say I hope you've enjoyed this little brief talk about the Witchlight series and the brief reading from Witchlight itself. If you're interested to find out more about the books or about me as a writer, there's my website, which you can find at www.jswatts.co.uk. So thank you for listening, and do enjoy the ongoing Libraries Week. Thank you.